Welcome to the Lending Forward podcast, brought to you by Atlantic Bay Mortgage Group. This is your home for real discussions about the mortgage and housing industry. Our hosts are here bringing you firsthand accounts every week from people at the heart of the business. And we're chatting with professionals from all corners of the industry as they help cultivate transparency around the future of the industry we love. Together, we are lending forward all we know to you. Thanks for joining us for today's episode. Let's dive in.
Today, I am thrilled to welcome Leigh Brown back to the Lending Forward podcast. Leigh is a powerhouse in the real estate world with decades of experience helping agents and brokers build their confidence and professional presence, whether they're new to the game or they're seasoned pros. Leigh's mission is to empower real estate professionals to face the industry's unique challenges head on and with her systematic approach to uncover and articulate individual value. Leigh's a best-selling author and a true force in the industry, known for helping professionals unlock their full potential and building lasting confidence. Leigh's commitment to uplifting others is truly inspiring. I can't wait to hear her share her insights with us today. Welcome, Leigh.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. And I love that building lasting confidence. That's a great phrase. I may steal that.
You should, actually. And I know that one of your things is knowing your why and expressing it. And whenever we come up with something that we can tweak and add into that, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right. R&D, rip off and duplicate.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. So listen, you just got done doing a webinar that was an hour long of awesomeness. Loved every bit of it. And one of the things that you talked about was what has not changed in the real estate industry. And I know you've got 5 points that really sit well with my heart and my soul. And let's just, if you don't mind, let's talk about something before we even get to that. How about that?
Let's do it.
Let's talk chickens.
Oh, my babies. Oh, I love my chickens. Oh.
So do you raise chickens?
I do. We are
okay.
We're home chicken people. Here's the earrings that Thea actually sent me these, and I haven't.
Oh my goodness, that is awesome! I love it.
I love them. But yeah, we are very focused on knowing where our food comes from, and so we added the chicken so that we would have the perfect source of protein. And now my children are spoiled because my son does not like the commercial trash they sell at the grocery store anymore. But we also know you don't name your meat chickens. You name the layers. Nope. You don't name the meat chickens.
Yep. That is a very valid point and something that anybody who's interested in raising chickens and listening to this call should know that right there, right now.
Very important.
I will give you. We raised chickens for like 6 or 7 years. And then we started, unfortunately, and accidentally started feeding the wilderness around our house. So we figured at that point it was not working. So, hey, one other thing that we have to talk about, because I have been getting into the world of running for many years. And then I got a puppy about 9 months ago who is part Whippet and part Border Collie. And she needs to run every single day. So I love it. It's a great excuse to put the shoes on and go get a few miles in. So I heard you did, was it the Boston Marathon?
Oh, Lord, no. I've done Chicago 2 times.
Okay.
I've gotten into Boston. So that's the only world I've gotten into.
Hey, listen, a marathon is a marathon is a marathon. So congratulations. That's fantastic. That's huge.
It's one of those things that a lot of people think they can't do, but your body can do a lot more than you realize. It's your brain that gets in the way. And that's the biggest lesson you learn from marathoning or half marathoning or 5King. If you're not giving yourself credit for more mileage, you'd be surprised if you shut this up, what this can do.
Yeah, I did a summary of a book a little bit ago, and they said that running is all right here, just between your temples. And it is just a mental game. And I know that to be true as well. Yep. So 5 things that have not changed in real estate. Let's go. What you got?
I mean, it could have been many more items, but let's focus on the top 5 because people in real estate have notoriously short attention spans. That hasn't changed.
And mortgages.
I mean, we're all cut from the same cloth. Some can do math and others don't want to do math.
There you go.
Realize the first thing that hasn't changed is that the reason we choose this business, on the front end, it looks like money. And then about 5 minutes later, you find out it was never about the money.
Yeah.
And if you stop focusing on the dollars will wind up finding you. It's the beautiful story of real estate that we've never told effectively.
Yep.
And we don't market to how we conduct the business, why we choose a hard business. And now we're in a space where the whole profession is being attacked. And there's all of this talk about making everything go AI and online. And there's no way to replicate the humanity that's needed for real estate. That's why we've survived all these other technological changes. But the individual realtor has to tap into that to connect with the public right around them. You can't rely on your brand to do it. You can't rely on your trade association to do it.
No.
The mainstream media has proven very clearly since about October that they are as in bed with the big time lawyers as anybody else is. So it's up to you and what you can do in your community. And the public's not going to identify with you if you're about dollars, if you're about all the time you want to take off. You're working hard. You're completely dialed in with people's needs and their lives. That's the story that has to get told. And I love that about us. Our people in real estate often give so much, it's to their own detriment, which is what leads to point number 5, but they give and give and give and give. Yep. They often never get financially compensated for what they give. They get compensated in the way of relationships, but they have to get a hold of this story. We have to take back the story of what we do and let the public understand it.
Absolutely. So you're big on knowing your why, and so am I. I'm a huge why guy. Love Simon Sinek. I know you do as well.
Although I got to tell you though, he gets mad if you say his name like I do. I said Simon Sinek because I'm Southern. And he was highly upset that I said his name that way. We were backstage at an event, and he was like, "It's Simon Sinek," because he's from like down under. And I was like,
"Okay, there you go."
In my language, it's Simon Sinek.
That's awesome. Well, I have never had the honor of meeting him in person, but I'm looking forward to
That's
it.
my other pro tip to you today.
I love it. I'm taking that way as a tidbit. Absolutely. So what is your why?
I love helping people solve their problems.
Good.
And I solve problems for my clients in real estate, for my agents as they serve clients in real estate, and solve problems for realtors who have let their problems have entirely too much oxygen.
Yeah. Very true.
Choke it off.
Yeah, very true. I love that. So let's go into number 2, because I think that the knowing your why and expressing it, and please, for everybody listening, if you don't know your why, and most people don't, right? Listen to some things about why. I tell people to go watch a YouTube video, and if you just put in a Google search, you put in Apple TED Talk, you will come up with Simon Sinek's 18-minute long, very it's very raw, raw is not the right word. It's not a polished TED Talk. Yeah. It was very, very real. And you got to listen to the 18-minute version. He gives 3 examples of how he puts it all together, and it is truly life-changing, and hopefully it's an aha moment for everybody who listens to it. But I think that leads right into your second point, which is love on your people. And what better thing to talk about right now, and especially in a post-COVID world, or when we were in COVID and all that stuff, like love on your people. What a foreign concept, right?
I mean, you think about it, all the messaging we get from everywhere has us divided, whether it's racial conflict or political conflict or one of the worst things I watch on the internet, because I have an 18 and a 19-year-old, there's this whole trend on social media for kids to ghost their families and get away from your family. And so you see all of these interrupters that are happening.
Yep.
And our gift comes from stopping the interruptions. It's from building the connections. And if you disagree, okay, cool, let's talk through that. Because in real estate, we have to. You watch it all the time with the pair buying a house. One half of the pair wants it and the other half doesn't. And you have to walk through who's in charge of the train. And am I helping them move forward, or am I helping them move back? But separating from the conflict, you will never succeed. And so when you get to the heart of how we work with people, you got to earn the trust before you can get there. And you earn the trust by being genuine, like the TED Talk we're just talking about.
Yeah.
What makes him so appealing is he's very genuine. What makes realtors appealing is usually their honesty, their opinions, their trust factor. And that all comes from being in life with people. This doesn't count. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all of those channels act like they're relationships and they're not. This is interrupting our relationships. I'm a big fan of calling people on the phone. And if they scream you, okay, talk to their voicemail, then text and say, hey, I just called, and connect the call to the text. Or it's sending video messages. Anybody that follows me on social, I'm very big on video because it's your voice and your eyes. And for me, it's my hair. Like, I'm known for my hairdo, which means people recognize me in public. There's a huge power to that somebody says, I recognized you by your hair.
Yep.
And then they want to say, hey, because they already know my voice.
Yep.
And they know kind of what I'm going to say. And so you're shortcutting the getting to know you process in a positive way. But it only happens when we stop thinking about people as numbers. And Jeff, it's driving me crazy. Like, we look at, again, these stupid cancerous devices that live in our hands.
Yep.
And we judge our worth by the number of followers, the number of friends, the number of clicks. It's not about that. It's about, what do we know about that other person? What can we offer? What have they offered to us? Because part of loving on people is letting them love on you. And I didn't really go into that in the webinar.
Yeah.
The post-COVID world, I think, showed us how much we do need each other, regardless of what the internet says.
Yep.
And when I think about that, I am somebody who is terrible at accepting help because I'm the doer. I do for everybody. I'm a busybody. I don't rest well. My husband hates vacationing with me because I'm like, we're going to go to this museum and we're going to do this and we're going to do this and we're going to do this. And he says, I want to sleep and not do anything. And so he does tell the world that's the worst thing about me. And if they say, well, Leigh seems like she's got it together, he's like, let me tell you something. The woman can't relax. That's why I love it. That's why our marriage works. And so
Leigh,
you think
you and I are the same people, and
right?
we are in very similar relationships. Absolutely.
So your wife is like, listen to the woman's husband.
Yep.
But you think about this because we do.
Yeah.
Somebody calls me and says, how can I help you? What's my first reaction? I don't need anything.
Yeah.
Well, that person serves by offering and doing for me. So if I would say yes once in a while, they get to be fulfilled by serving. And so in real estate, all of us that do right now, you have people that have reached out to you and said, are you okay? Because what's happening with real estate? They're seeing some nasty articles, nasty comments online. And what you should say to them is, it is pretty exhausting to get attacked all the time. So if you don't mind, I'd love to be on your prayer list. And frankly, if you have somebody that needs real estate, please give my name out because you can help my business grow. Let people help you and be honest about how they help you. You don't have to say everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Absolutely.
Say, send me somebody.
Absolutely. And, you've got to be willing to put stuff out into the universe if you want something to change.
Amen. Because when they say speak it into existence, that's what prayer is all about. All the people who, even if you're not a believer, you hear people talk about prayer. Well, it's about a conversation where you're getting it out of your system.
Yep.
And that changes everything. Bottling it up is so unhealthy.
Yeah. And if you never, again, like if you never ask, you're never gonna hear an answer. And there are so many books about it. There's so many psychological dives into it, where people ask for something and then all of a sudden they get an answer, or they're looking for something and they put it out to the universe. And I say universe just to be universal, right? You call the universe what you want to call it, but you put it out into the universe and all of a sudden something happens or you get movement towards it. It's crazy how the world works. We're all connected. We are all connected. So loving on your people, 100%. Like when you love on people, I feel like when you love on people, you're going to get a lot of love back. I really do.
And love looks like honesty too. It doesn't mean you have to be milquetoast and boring and try to be all things to all people. It just means being available, being accessible, being yourself. And if somebody else doesn't want what you're offering, that's okay, because it's better for them that they know you and better for you that you know them. And I have to put a plug in there when you're talking about putting it out there in Women's Council of Realtors, which is one of the best affiliate groups we have. We've been saying it for years. The task is the ask. It's not the outcome or the result. The task is the ask. So you ask, and then sometimes you receive and sometimes you don't. So there you go. Hashtag the task is the ask. We're also hashtag leaders made here because Women's Council is focused on building leaders. And isn't that what we do in real estate that hasn't changed? We're building leaders in our community because they lead in their neighborhoods by picking up the entrance, or they lead in their neighborhoods by joining the HOA boards. Leadership is more than your elected positions.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. Number 3. This is a big one for a lot of people. And I was kind of shocked when you put it out there in a way that it's not something that people's minds normally go to, but I really love it, and that's one of the things that we do. So from the mortgage side, absolutely we live in data, right? But, you said that data can be a game changer. 100%. Absolutely. Let's talk about, some of the ways that you use data to be able to prove things or to, give people, a better feeling about what they're doing. Please.
Well, let's start with the main conversation about housing in the public sphere. So the 30,000 foot view, affordability and availability. So housing shortage prices are too high. Well, it all depends on where you're located. And so in my zip code, in 28025, where I am right now in my building, I can get you a house for $200,000. I can also get my lender to get you a buy down on your interest rate. I can get you down to 5.25 right now. So I can make that house less than your rent payment, and you get to build equity, and you get to paint the bedrooms, and you get to plant a tomato plant. But if you don't know your market as compared to other areas, you can't make that case. And too many realtors and loan officers have fallen into the trap of, oh, rates are too high. Oh, there's nothing to buy. Oh, first timers have no hope. They're never going to have the American dream. It's all over. I mean, if you're in the Bay Area, does it cost a lot more? Of course it does, but they also get paid a lot more because the markets are also different with average salary and income. And so you have to start realizing your market is unique and special. And if you're the king or queen of knowing that piece, you can't be replicated. The apps don't know the difference. In fact, where I am, 28025 is different than 28027, which is also Concord, but that's the newer part of Concord. That's the Golden Crescent. This is old downtown. Zillow don't know that. Zillow don't know the difference. You, the realtor, and that's what the public has to understand, is that we bring a perspective that nobody else can bring. And the other perspective that I mentioned is so available, and people just don't want to dial into it. The part of the data is the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey said. I know what's happening with water and sewer in my county. I know what's happening with the use per fixture. That's a big conversation amongst developers, amongst political officials, but not amongst the public. So when you know more than everybody else does, you're setting yourself up as a really hard to replace expert, because you can go to any real estate website. Nobody's talking about it except Leigh Brown. So then you ask yourself, what can I talk about in my area that nobody else knows except me? You go to a planning and zoning meeting, you'll find you're the only realtor there. You go to your county commission meeting, you're one of 3 members of the public that's there. And maybe it's relevant to your business and maybe it's not. But is it about schools being built? Is that relevant to real estate? Of course it is. Is it about parks and rec, adding trails? Of course that's relevant. And you realize many of the topics are relevant to real estate in a holistic way. And that's a game changer in your marketing, but also in your ability to connect with people. And for the record, I'm not an elected official, but every elected official calls me for real estate things. They know who I am. They know who to call. And that means I get other opportunities that other realtors, you can do it. And what does it cost me? Time. And cost me some phone calls. And I don't think that's a good thing. You could also think about that data piece as, how do you combat the junk that's on the internet? So I'm going to use interest rates as an example. Whenever you hear the Fed, which needs to be audited, audit the Fed. Whenever you hear the Fed talking about lowering interest rates, most realtors and many loan officers do not understand the relationship of interest rates and inflation. They don't understand the relationship of the markets to the signaling from the Fed. I used to work on Wall Street, so I do know it better than many people.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you have the excuse of not knowing it just because you didn't have that background. What it means is you know right now, if the Fed says they're lowering rates, that doesn't change it in 60 days. That changes it right now because now the markets are going to bake it in. Your loan officer should be able to explain that to you and say, this is why rates dropped by a quarter on, was that Monday? No, Saturday they went down. No, Monday they went down a quarter. So it went down a quarter because the Fed said they're going to lower it. Even if they're lowering it in September. Be the one who knows this. It's not hard. It's just that nobody's paying attention. Be the one that does.
Be a student of what you do.
Yes.
And that means that you're always learning and or you're always trying to learn.
And if you don't know, ask.
Yeah. Oh, hey, was that a lead into number 4?
I mean, maybe, but it's also my life advice. I tell my
absolutely.
2-year-old daughter all the time, like, ask. You don't know, ask.
Yeah.
She was horrified when I asked. We were at the store yesterday. She was hunting for something, so I brought it over to the 15-year-old stock boy, and I asked him, and she was about to melt into the floor. Mom, it's so embarrassing. I'm like,
no, it's not. No.
That's the kid that puts stuff on the shelves. He's going to know where it is, and he didn't know, so he sent me to the lady at the front, and all of a sudden, her embarrassment went away.
Yeah.
But it saved me probably 30 minutes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
The 4th topic is asking questions. It's asking. Ask is the ask. If you don't know, don't declare it without saying it. But we have to understand our clients better. And one of the biggest things that's happening right now is you and I know exactly what we're talking about with the changes in real estate. We're up to speed. We're paying attention. The public is not, because they are not engaged in real estate professionally or in their personal lives. So we should be asking, what do you know about real estate? What do you hear? And do you need anything? Some leading questions to find out, do we dial into the class action suit? Do we tell them what the DOJ is doing? Do we tell them there's more lawsuits? Do we explain this? Do we do this? When in reality, the only question they might have is granite still a hot countertop? Because we make so many assumptions about what they want us to say.
We do. Yeah.
And one of the biggest things, if I ask a room full of realtors, my favorite question to ask them, Jeff, I have 200 realtors in a seminar. How many of y'all think that every seller wants top dollar for their house? And their little hands shoot way up. And I say, And then I ask the next question, which is, how many of y'all have been through a nasty divorce? And then hands go up like this, because they're always me, because it's there's never a happy thing, but they like to announce it. And I say, what mattered to y'all more than money? And they said, done.
Yeah.
Then you start realizing, oh, wait a minute. I assumed they all want money.
Yeah.
But if in front of somebody for whom time matters more, that's a different approach. So asking questions allows you to personalize the approach, which is what everybody wants in today's world. We all want a personalized experience. We want it to be about us, me.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a hard thing for realtors to do, because we're very me people. So make it you thing.
Yep. Well, and then, here's one of the most basic but most effective questions that any agent or mortgage banker can ask a client. Why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? Like, if you don't know why they're buying a home, you have no clue how to effectively help them.
And why is it today? I mean, because sometimes the why is time related too. So it is today. Yep.
And most people don't ask that question. They just jump into, okay, I need a mortgage. They need a mortgage. So you jump right into the mortgage, or they need a house. So you jump into the house. But if you don't ask why, you might be going down a completely different path than what they're really looking for. Yep.
Oh, 1,000%. I mean, we work with the buffet. We are literally a buffet of options for any buyer or seller, but then we don't ask questions. And so we took them over here to the chocolate fountain when they really wanted to be at the hibachi grill. So why don't we give them enough start so they can look at the buffet and then direct us instead of us directing them?
Absolutely. And now I'm incredibly hungry, by the way. So yep. So now that leads us to my absolute favorite topic. So my day job is actually internal sales coach, and one of my absolute favorite topics ever to coach on is taking care of yourself. And I'm going to let you jump in first, and I'm going to hopefully add a couple of things here, and let's have a little fun with this one.
Well, this one became a topic for me because I'm the child of a realtor. So I know what it looks like
Oh,
to
yeah.
be the backpack of
Yep.
the realtor. So I got dragged along to open houses and to do flyers and postcards and to go to the office and go
Yeah.
do this and go do that. I didn't mind. I loved being with my dad,
Yep.
but it was hard because he couldn't turn it off. He's trying to provide for his
Yeah.
family. I get that. It's our excuse for
Yep.
never turning it off, is I got to provide for my family, because we have this fear that if we don't answer our phone right now, they will go to somebody else. Okay, well, some people will. Bye.
Yeah.
But most people, if they have any relationship to you at all, are going to give you a few minutes to call them back. So I've watched that in real time. And then I watch what's happened to professional real estate people. And I'm going to include loan officers and real estate people because they have the same bad habits. We have one of the highest divorce rates of any profession. We have one of the highest obesity rates of any profession. And I know why that is. It's not for anything other than you prioritized everybody else over your marriage. That's where the divorce rate problem comes in. You put everybody else first. And all of my realtors who have skipped date night for one more showing, they know exactly how their spouse feels, because you walk home and they're like, again. And then the obesity rate comes in because I know a lot of realtors that intend to exercise, but their intention is that they do it when they get home. But because dealing with clients is a drain, it is, you're putting your emotion out there. You are on stage all day. And by the end of the day, you're a wet spaghetti noodle. You got nothing left. And so it just doesn't happen, even if you intended it. And the other thing that causes that high rate of obesity is we don't eat well in real estate.
No.
Because you're so busy working, you're like, own, and then you get rid of the clients and you get in the car and you're like, oh my God, I'm starving. What is in here? You're getting stale goldfish out of the seat. If you have some, or you drive by fast food and well, I know it's terrible for me, but just this once, because you're desperate. And so we let our client service take us out of a way that we could do better for ourselves.
Yeah.
And you start realizing that, okay, if I would just set some guardrails, and the guardrails might be, I'm going to go to the grocery store and make a little cooler that I can leave in the car so I can make myself nibble. Because if you would make yourselves nibble, your energy would actually be higher, because you're not supposed to let yourself get down to fumes and then try to get back.
So true.
It's an inexpensive thing to do. It's way cheaper than buying that terrible for you fast food. So make your little cooler of stuff. And then when you think about that time piece, it's all right, it's date night. I'm going to put it on my calendar. And then when that buyer says, I need to look at a house, you can say, listen, I only have until 5:42 because I have to be somewhere at 6. You never have to say, I have date night. It's dinner with my husband. I have to be somewhere at 6. They don't know. It might be your AA meeting, which that's very important. It might be a church meeting. I don't know what it is. And I don't want to ask. And the clients can say, okay, we have time for this house. And then they walk in the door. And I love how people do. They're like, we're not going to buy it anyway. Why don't you head on? I will let you go. And if you never tell them, you have to leave at 5:42, the buyer's like, well, we're already here. Let's just look around. And then you spend an hour being passive aggressive because now you're mad at them, but you would never show that because you're like, oh, this is wonderful. You're never going to buy it. And now my husband's mad at me and I hate you people, and I hate you so much. This is great. Love to see you next week. It's just stop. If you took steps, you'd keep your life intact. You'd keep your health intact.
Absolutely.
You would still sell all the houses, which also means that loan officers need to be telling their realtors. My loan officer is Jordan Yawn. He's here in the market.
Love Jordan.
Jordan has little people in his house. And so I know when it's witching hour and he's covered in Cheeto dust and his wife told him, turn off the loans for a minute, because if I forget, he'll text me back and say witching hour. And I'm like, no problem. And I know that 2 hours from now, he's going to come back and help me. And I'm glad to be patient. But he's also willing to protect his family time. And if we would learn how to do that, it changes everything. And for those of y'all that are listening or watching and you don't have a spouse at home, your kids are grown, it's you and the dog, Well, you should have a bestie. You should have somebody
Yeah.
you can go out to eat with. You're playing pickleball, you're trying bunko, you're in a history class, you're doing
Yep.
something outside of your professional life to build yourself, because it's a game changer when you are multifaceted. And most of you are. You've just let it slide because you let real estate take over. And real estate is, well, frankly, it's the monkey grass of the professional world, because monkey grass runs wild unless you control it.
Yep. There
Never
you go.
made that analogy before, but I'm totally using
I
that.
like it. I like it.
That's happening. I guess that's a new thing.
So you heard it here first, folks. Yeah. So I'm gonna share with you what I typically go into if I'm doing a seminar on taking care of yourself. The very first thing I do is show the beginning of an airplane flight. And I say one of the most important things that you will ever hear in life, you hear at the beginning of a flight. And that is when that flight attendant gets on the mic and they say, put your mask on first before you help others. Because if you are dead, you can't help anyone.
Exactly.
You can't do it. And everything either takes energy from you or gives you energy. And if you literally don't give yourself energy, doing the runs, doing the walks, playing pickleball, whatever you want to throw in there, right? Whatever it is that gives you energy, if you're not doing that, then you have nothing left for the people who depend on you, the people who care about you, the people who need you. And that is not just your family. That is not just your pets. That is not just your friends. That is your clients. That is your coworkers. That is the people you bump into in the grocery store. That is everybody. Everybody needs you to be a better person. They need you to fill your cup, because then you're a better person out in public and everything. It doesn't end with just the people who need you and care about you, who need something from you or depend on you. It's everyone.
I can't give you enough high fives for that.
Yeah.
So high five in
Hey,
the
there
corner,
you go. There you
right
go.
on now.
I'm just gonna mic drop and we're gonna walk away. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So hey, yes, we are 100% aligned in all this, and I love this, and I hope that a lot of people took away a lot of good things from this. Hey, so one thing, I'm gonna ask you a question. And I think you actually know this question is coming, because this is not your first. You've been a long time listener, but also been a long time guest. So you know what question I'm going to ask. But is there anything you want to share any last thing you want to share before we get to that last question that's coming?
I'll just give the reminder I always give to anybody in the real estate space.
Yep.
No matter what is happening structurally in the business or in the economic markets,
Yep.
houses are going to be bought and sold.
Absolutely.
The question is whether you are going to be a part of that, and only you can answer that question.
Absolutely. And that is wonderful advice. Everyone, please hear that. And if you need to, rewind it and listen to it again and again and again. Because that's the deal right there. But let's ask this fun little question. We ask everybody who joins Lending Forward, what are you doing for the rest of this year to lend it forward?
To lend it forward.
Absolutely.
Well, I turned 50 in the rest of this year.
Welcome to the 50 Club.
Right?
Soon, or coming up. Congratulations.
My husband's already turned 50, so I'm going to lose the ability to remind him his wife is in her 40s, and I'm very sad about that. So I have to get a whole new shtick at home.
Yep.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue fighting through the noise with something positive, and whether that's consumer focused or agent focused, I'm not going to stop fighting. And all I can say is that fighting doesn't have to look adversarial. Sometimes fighting just looks like advocating.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep advocating, and I'm going to keep encouraging other people to stretch and decide they're willing to do it as well. Because as much as I love the DMs that I get and all the private messages that thank me for speaking up, I need more of them to do the same, because they reach a different audience than I do.
Absolutely.
That's how we preserve and protect the greatest entrepreneurial opportunity left on planet Earth, which is real estate.
There you go. Amen. Leigh, thank you very much for joining us. We look forward to your next session, because I know we'll be back in touch again here in the future as well. Thank you so much.
Honor to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Thanks again for tuning into today's episode of the Lending Forward podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram at Lending Forward, on YouTube and LinkedIn. Tune in next week for another new episode and go lend something forward today. Atlantic Bay Mortgage Group, LLC, NMLS number 72043, NMLSconsumeraccess.org is an equal opportunity lender and employer located at 600 Lynn Haven Parkway, Suite 100, Virginia Beach, Virginia 23452.